Summer is coming.
Yes, it is.
It's practically here.
It's practically here.
And the reality of something important is going to face us all.
Mm-hmm.
You might end up going to the beach.
Yeah, and you got to ask that question, am I ready for the beach?
Yeah, and we don't mean mentally ready, nor do we mean emotionally ready.
No.
We mean physically.
Yep.
Are you going to have to walk around the beach sucking your gut in or trying to convince everybody that you genuinely like swimming with your shirt on?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. I love wearing tank tops.
Yeah, like I have to have a shirt. Not having it's weird. When in reality, your body's not ready for the beach.
No, it's not.
The truth is, a lot of guys make their one goal for the year that's a health goal is to like look good for the beach.
Yep.
They're preparing, let's be honest, for only like maybe a month before the summer.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, I'm going to look good for this 1 week and then go back to my normal lifestyle.
They go crunches every day.
But here's the truth. Having a beach-ready body can be a year-round thing.
It can.
Now, we'll get into what we mean by that in a minute, but we're going to jump into the show with a little bit of tips on how to do that.
This is the Thriving Man Podcast with David and Reese Maxwell. These weekly shows are designed to help you remove the confusion from your life and make real progress with your growth. No matter where you are or where you're going, we're here to help you live a life you can be proud of. So welcome to the Thriving Man Podcast.
Welcome to the Thriving Man Podcast, where our goal is to help you break out of survivor mode and start living a life that you can be proud of. I'm Reese.
And I'm David.
And today we're going to be talking about having a beach-ready body.
Come on now.
And it's probably not what our culture defines it as.
No.
Because, we've got some crazy expectations.
We do.
But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
First of all, let's acknowledge the ideal body type is not something that's universal.
No, it's not. You go to different countries and even throughout history, you look at pictures in history of most of the time women are in the pictures because guys were the painters a long time. And so you'd have one time where women are maybe more thin and then other times where women were a little plumper. And it just kind of varied throughout history what people think is beautiful. And you go to different cultures, you notice that.
Well, I mean, it's the same for guys as well.
It is.
Like in some cultures, well, here's one good example, how tan you are.
Yeah.
In my sister, your daughter, is in Korea currently.
Yeah.
And in Korea, the whiter, the better.
Yep.
The more white you can be, the better. Everybody wants to be as pale as possible. But in the U.S., everybody wants to be tan.
They do.
Everybody wants like that golden brown kind of look going on.
They get that fake tan spray or have you ever seen people do like the tan stuff and they overdo it and they turn orange?
Yeah. They look like the inside of a Tupperware thing that had spaghetti in it.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. The issue is we have to acknowledge that if your idea of the perfect body is something that's literally not possible, you're setting yourself up for discouragement.
That's true.
And for disappointment.
It's true.
I think of a guy in the youth group that you are over and I volunteer at. We'll call him, what you want to call him?
Let's call him Bobby.
Bobby is quite a unique character.
Yes,
He's very funny. We love him. He's probably, 13?
Yeah,
right
I
about?
think around 13.
Yeah, he's about 13. And he has this dream of being tall.
He does.
Not
he
just
loves
kind of
basketball.
tall. Yeah,
He
wants
loves
to be
basketball.
NBA level tall.
Yeah, he
I'm
does.
talking 7 foot or
Yeah.
at least close to 7 foot.
Yeah.
And I will say I've seen his parents.
Yeah.
Neither of them is even 6 foot,
Nope.
much less
Not
7.
even close.
So, we're honest with him, but
Yeah.
we're going to let him keep dreaming because he's like, you can hit a growth spurt in college.
He does.
He's going to hold on to it till he's probably about 25.
Yeah.
Once he hits the 25 range, he'll probably acknowledge reality. But he's setting himself up for a disappointment.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
And we do that for ourselves.
We do. I think, and especially a lot of us as men, we want to have this certain look. We may see an influencer on Instagram or somewhere. I want to look like that. And we don't know the life that person led, or we see someone in a movie. And here we have people who have professional chefs make their food, professional trainers guide them in working out. They spend 8 hours a day to look like that for 3 scenes in a movie. It's just not realistic, but a lot of times we're holding ourselves up to that standard. And that's a very hard thing to reach if it's even possible.
Yeah. So how we are defining a beach body is not this ideal of perfection from some film.
Yeah.
We're not like, oh, you're going to look like you're from, what's that old show about lifeguards?
Oh, Baywatch.
Yeah. You're not we're not trying to make you look like you're from Baywatch.
Yeah.
But we are trying to help you reach a ideal goal for yourself.
Exactly.
Which that's different for everybody. So we're going to get into the practicals of how to do that, because our health shouldn't be a once a year event for the sake of vanity. It should be a lifestyle that we live for long term.
Yeah, and where a lot of people mess up is they start going from event to event with their health. And that's when they get into the dieting that's yo-yoing, or they get into bad habits. And it's nothing that's sustainable. Most people who lose weight gain it back. Why? Because they don't make it a lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're not learning how to just be healthy. And they maybe want to get six-pack abs, and they don't realize how hard that is to maintain. So they just don't even try.
Yeah. So today we're going to start with probably an area that's kind of surprising, but the mind.
Yeah.
Because the biggest obstacle for our health is the way we think.
It is.
A lot of times what starts up here in your head ends up defining your habits.
Yeah, and if your thinking is messed up, if your thinking is kind of off, your health's going to be off because you start thinking, well, this is fine or this is fine, and it may not be. And that's the other danger of influencers. You see people who come on TikTok, Instagram, telling you all this stuff, and a lot of it's just wrong. It's just lies, but people buy into it.
Yeah. Yeah. You see it's got 1 million views,
Yeah.
therefore it must be true.
It must be true.
When really it's just extreme and people are shocked by it. Therefore it gets up on the algorithm.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to face the mental side of this first and acknowledge it as we go on the journey. The process of living healthy starts with us seeing it as a process.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a target. It's not some place you get to. Like think of reaching a target weight, like you said. The classic thing for yo-yo dieting is so common. Like
It is.
I knew a family growing up who they would get in a phase of wanting to lose weight.
Yeah.
And they would. Like they'd kill it. They'd be like, bro, I've lost 40 pounds. I've lost 50 pounds. And they're just slaying. And then they go right back.
They do.
Afterwards, because they met their goal, or the challenge for biggest loser, because that was huge for a while, ended, and they just went back to the way that they were. That can be discouraging. That can be frustrating.
Yeah. Well, and the danger is we get into where we'll do a diet fad for the moment, and it works because we restrict our calories, we do those things, but we're doing it for the short term. And so we're not really changing our habits. We're thinking, okay, I'm doing this for the next 3 months, which is fine. That can get you started, but it's not going on the journey. It's kind of a side quest, and you're not really going on the full quest. And our life is all of it. And I think it's better to take longer to make the changes that are long-term changes. Then it's easier to maintain a healthy body, a healthy look that's best for you, because you kind of figure out yourself in that journey.
Yeah, and it's not glamorous. I think we just need to acknowledge that up front.
No, it's not.
It's everyday choices. It's I don't feel like going to the gym, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's I don't feel like having this protein shake, but I will. I don't feel like, restricting myself from this thing I want to eat, but I will.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, and I guess this is really the first area, a lot of it comes back to how we see ourselves.
It's true.
Identity.
Yeah.
The journey of health, as surprising as it sounds, is the journey of identity.
It is.
You are how you see yourself defines how you eat and how you live. And how you eat and how you live affects how you see yourself. So you have to acknowledge that.
They work that way. Like for me, when I began to lose weight, I was in the 280s, and I'd always seen myself as the fat kid. And it's not really until recently, and I'm in my 50s now, that I started thinking, okay, I'm not a fat kid anymore. And it was kind of a realization to me that I still saw myself as a fat kid.
Right. And we're talking like 20 years later.
Yeah. Over 20, 25 years of working on it and losing weight and doing things, exercising regular, all those things, but still thinking I'm really just a fat kid. I'm kind of faking it. And it wasn't until I began to see that I thought, okay, there's something going on in my brain. I need to change my thinking. And I think a lot of people are like that. Even if they lose weight, they still see themselves as, well, I'm really that big couch potato that I used to be. Like, no, you're not. You don't have to be in that. But that's how we perceive ourselves. And that's where identity is a big part of the health journey.
Because the danger is if we don't begin to buy into a new identity, we'll start to enable our bad habits.
Yeah.
This is just the way I am.
Yep.
This is who I am, man.
Yeah.
I just love ice cream. If I don't have my ice cream at night, I'm not alive. It's not a good day until I've had my double bowl of Bluebell or whatever.
Yeah.
And the truth is that mentality's got to shift.
It does.
Or else you will never be able to sustain long-term health.
Yeah, and most people who make a long-term change their attitude. They change their mind. And what we want to do is understand that that's a process, but you want to go into it. It's worth it. It's worth changing the way you think. And that change doesn't mean that you have to become some health nut. And that's what we want to understand. You don't have to become some freak, some person who wants to tell everybody about their health journey, because we've all seen that person and they kind of bug us.
Yeah. Well, we all know that person who loves telling you about their diet restrictions.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just like, hey, I just want to let you know for every morning, I have 14 tablespoons of chia seeds that I just chew and swallow raw.
Yeah.
And they're just very proud. And you're like, hey, guess what? I don't care. That's weird, Or the person who's posting on social media like 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And they want you to know that they're using this supplement that's really helped them, and you can buy it from them.
You can buy it from them.
And they love showing you their workouts.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're kind of weird, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing is you don't have to be that person.
No.
There are many people in this world that are healthy and normal.
Yeah. And that's
possible.
it. You want to see it as, I'm going to be a good steward of my body. I've got a body. It's the only one I have. I want to take care of it for the sake of taking care of it, not to sell something else, not to show off to people, not to get online and I'm drinking a whole cup of apple cider vinegar. Well, you go for it.
Go have fun.
I'm not going to do that. You can be healthy and not be weird. Don't let the weird people throw you off from your journey.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true. And we got to acknowledge, this is one thing we want you to remember. The number one thing that will keep you from long-term health is quitting. It's giving up.
Yeah.
The truth is there's no such thing as quitting or giving up if you want to live a healthy lifestyle. Now, you may have to adjust what you do. You may have to adjust the style of what you do. There may be a diet that doesn't fit you. There may be a nutrition plan that you just don't like, and that's okay. But quitting, saying, okay, I just don't do this. That is the true sabotage. Every yo-yo diet met a point where somebody said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you get back to where you were.
Yeah. And I think we're all guilty of that, especially as men. Men tend to be the all or nothing kind of person. So we're going to do some weird carnivore, freaky diet where we're, throwing dirt in our mouth and only eating red meat. And we think that's the key. But I mean, can you really sustain that?
No.
And is that good for you in the long term? Not really. You may lose weight, but it's going to put you in that yo-yo zone. And so what a lot of guys do is they start coming up with things and say, well, they start making excuses. Well, for me, my metabolism has really slowed down. And it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to make excuses for yourself, or you just get jaded. And we've seen those people. Oh, diets don't work for me. And it's like, well, how about not do a diet? How about just be healthy? And that's the mental change you have to think. I'm not doing a diet. I'm just choosing healthy options. I'm going to be more healthy in what I eat and how I eat and what I do and how I live. When you make that choice and you do it in your mind, it'll keep you from that quitting mentality of, I tried that one time. It didn't work. So I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah, it's a short-term versus long-term. That's why we talked about the whole journey mentality. I know we bring that up over and over, But if you don't get it, you're not going to change.
Yeah.
That's just the truth, because short-term fixes don't fix long-term problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've taken 20 years to get your health to a place where it's not good,
Yeah.
you're not going to completely reverse all of that in 60 days or 90 days. You have to have that same level of, hey, it took me 20 years to get here.
Yeah.
I don't care if it takes me 20 years to get out. I'm doing it, and I'm not going to quit until I'm proud of how I look. In fact, once I get there, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
That's what the journey mentality means, and we have to have that.
Yeah, and it's true. There's a video on the blog portion of this show that on our website where Lane Norton, who's a big nutritionist, talks about there have been studies that show the people who get it off and keep it off make changes in their life.
Yes.
And they stick to the changes. They don't just do it short term and then go back to the way they were living before. That's the only way to do it long term. And you can come up with all kinds of excuses. You can say, well, my lifestyle, my this, my still that. You're still choosing what you eat. You're still choosing how much activity you're doing in your life. There's no one else to blame. You can, well, my parents are this, or my metabolism this. It's still on you. And I think we have to see that as, okay, I need a long-term thought process in this and not just a short-term fix. 90 days isn't going to change, like you said, 20 years of bad habits.
No, it's not. And we're not saying that goals are bad. Goals can be good, but goals are one level down.
Yeah.
Goals are meant to get you more towards the direction of a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if your goal, and it can be something different than losing weight, like maybe you need to gain muscle. Maybe you've never seen yourself as a strong person and you want to grow in that. Well, you can set a goal to lift a certain amount on the bench, but that's getting you in the direction of something bigger.
Yeah.
If all you have is the goal in and of itself, it's got nothing to be, that's not rooted in anything.
Yeah.
And so it just falls apart. So there's a podcast called All It Takes Is a Goal. That's not true. It doesn't just take a goal. Like I can make a goal, but if I don't have a plan, if I'm not in the midst of it, if I'm not going for it, if I don't have a bigger vision in mind, it's going to be too anemic to actually change any of my lifestyle.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people have to get, that the journey, the reason you want to have a journey mentality is you take that long-term approach and you begin to make changes that I think kind of pile up over time. The little changes you make every day begin piling up over time. So if you start walking more, if you start restricting some calories here or there, or just making better food choices, in the long term, those are going to be the things that really begin to move the needle over time.
Yeah, and you can acknowledge even just not going in the wrong direction is its own win.
Yeah.
I had a friend who, over the process of 5 years, they gained about 5 to 10 pounds per year. And over the process of this past year, they've really developed exercising habits. They've really started dialing in on those things. And they haven't lost weight, but they stopped gaining it.
Yep.
And that in and of itself, what you've done by not gaining any more weight is you've technically prevented the next 10 to 15 pounds from happening.
Yeah.
That's a win. Yeah. And, you know, you can reach that goal, but it doesn't end there. You start moving in the other direction, and it takes time.
Yeah, it does.
You can still live life. A lot of people, I think, quit because they feel like food is it's like be their enemy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There's a big culture of like food is the enemy.
That's true.
Eat as little as possible. You can only eat what this company makes because it's got, 75 grams of protein and 2 grams of sugar and 3 carbs.
Yeah.
That's all I can eat from now on. It tastes like dirt, but that's what I got to do. Not really.
Yeah. Well, it's like the whole anti-carb movement. There's so many people out there who, don't eat carbs. Carbs are bad. Carbs give energy. They're not bad. Can you overdo them? Yes, but you can overdo anything. But living healthy actually helps you enjoy food more because you don't just eat whatever. You learn to eat stuff that's good. You learn to say, you know what, I'm not going to eat the meal from McDonald's because it just doesn't taste that good. I'd rather go home and make something myself. You make food at home, by nature, it's going to be healthier than almost anything you get eating out.
Pretty much.
And it's going to be a higher quality because you bought the stuff for it. And then you learn maybe how to cook meals, how to cook a better meal. You learn how to do these things, or you wait and say, I'm not going to eat the fast food. I'm going to wait till we go to a nice restaurant and have a good meal. And when you begin to do that, you begin to wait for the better food. Mm-hmm. You begin to wait for that food that tastes better and not just something to fill your mouth, and you're just doing it because you're bored.
Yeah, I was about to say, a lot of times our food takes up a role it was never meant to have in our life. Mm-hmm. Food becomes our coping mechanism when we're sad, when we're frustrated, or when we're bored.
Yeah.
And food is a good thing. It's good to have a meal with people you love and to sit down and eat and hang out. That's one of my favorite things to do.
It is.
However, if food has become like a drug to you, to where like you always got to have a hit 24/7, then it's almost lost its joy, and it's turned into a desperate need. Yeah. And we don't want it to stay there. By going to a place of health, food can begin to take a more normalized role in your life, where it is something you enjoy, but it's not something that controls you.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Some of us get to that point where instead of us controlling the food is controlling us. It's like that thing of maybe I'm lonely, so I'm going to go eat. I'm bored, I'm going to go eat. I'm angry, I'm going to go eat. So eating kind of becomes this way of coping with things when there's other choices we could make. If we're lonely, we could go spend time with people, or we could do something different. There's different things you can do with your life and not use food as a source of comfort that it wasn't designed to be.
Yeah, exactly. So we just want you to know that you can still relate to food normally. In fact, eating healthy can help you relate to food better than you may be currently. The next thing we want you to remember on the mental side of things is that starting is hard. Mm-hmm. Beginning is the most difficult part. It really is. Give them the illustration that we thought of that brings this point to the front.
Well, if you have to move a giant boulder, that's just sitting on the ground. Well, the inertia to get that moving is the hardest part.
By far. It's like, I forget what it was in science class, like 5 to 10 times more energy.
Yeah. I tried to find a video to put in the blog to show an example of it, but they're all like really educational oriented, or they're for, preschoolers. And I'm like, okay, there's no good video on this, but it's just the reality. To get that boulder moving takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of pushing, and it's the hardest part. But once it starts rolling, the energy it takes to maintain that is significantly less. Mm-hmm. Same thing in your life. To get going on healthy eating, it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. We could tell you, do this, it's easy. It's not. It's not going to be easy. You're having to change your habits. You're having to change your lifestyle. That's hard. And I don't want to lie to you and say, oh, no, it's simple. But when you do it over time, you don't have to try to change everything at once. But just beginning that change, it's going to take effort.
Yeah.
It's going to take you being self-disciplined, and it's just changing your mindset. But that takes time. It just does.
It is. And, once you start, you're going to think to yourself, this is so hard. Mm-hmm. And you're right. But the lie that, therefore, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It will get easier eventually.
Yeah.
Like for me, the real beginning started in college. Mm-hmm. And it took me about a year to a year and a half.
Yeah.
To really actually begin to say, yeah, I exercise.
Yeah.
Because I want to. Up to that point, the only time I had really exercised was for like a sport. Yeah. And that was it. Like, when they made me exercise, I would do it. Yeah. But if you asked me, hey, you want to go to the gym? I'd laugh at you. But over the process of about a year and a half, that changed for me.
Yeah.
But that year and a half was difficult. Mm-hmm. Every time I went to the gym, it was like you had to almost fight against your normal self.
Yeah.
Until eventually your normal self changed to be the person that wants to. And so that it takes time, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And sometimes you're in patterns that you have to break, and that takes time. Like if every time you drive by a Dairy Queen, you go get a Blizzard, that becomes a habit. And breaking that is hard. We're not saying it's going to be easy, but eventually it becomes easier and easier for you to where you're like, why would I go have a Blizzard? A lot of times it's not as good as you think it's going to be. They don't make it that well, or I've got something better at the house. I'll wait till I get home.
Exactly.
You know, and those kind of mindset changes do take time, but as you begin to change one, you get that momentum going, and then it's easier to change more and more in your life.
Yeah. And an important mindset thing is remembering that health in and of itself is not the overall, well, it has a lot more benefits.
Yeah.
Let me put
Yeah.
it like that.
Yeah.
Because health enables you to live a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like the beach body thing
Yeah.
in its classic sense doesn't work as effectively, because does looking good to a bunch of strangers for 1 week, is that enough for you to suffer, through this workout that you really don't feel like doing?
Yeah.
No. However, there's a lot of benefits that come where you can create this vision, this picture of the future that can become a reality if you stick with it. For example, maybe your motivation is, I'm getting older, I want to be able to play with my grandkids outside at whatever sport or imaginary game they're playing and still have energy afterwards.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's I don't want my knees to hurt because I weigh so much that every time I walk around, my feet are getting torched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it is, I don't want to be embarrassed whenever I go swimming.
Yep.
There can be things that resonate with you and goals that resonate with you beyond just the look that can help motivate you in the midst of those tough times.
Yeah. And you want to understand that in our culture today, this is an uphill battle. Every company out there wants you to buy their product.
Mm-hmm.
Every restaurant wants you to come eat there.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be coming after you with advertisements and pictures and things because they
social media
want you.
posts.
Yeah, they want you to indulge.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to not just eat a few chips. They don't want you to eat just the serving size, which is like 10 chips. They want you to eat half a bag. That's their job. But you don't have to give in to those decisions. That's the point we want to let you know, is you're going to have to fight people who are out to get you in a way because they want your money. And that's fine. They're a company. That's what they do. You don't have to give in to them. You don't have to lose that battle.
Exactly. And that's another reason why it can be difficult is, millions of dollars are spent to get you to the point to where you feel like eating.
Yeah.
Man, I really feel like some Doritos.
I know.
Whereas Doritos paid to have eye level their chip bag right in front of you so that you would see it.
I know.
They're not dumb. They're smart. So you got to get smart about that too.
Yeah.
So I think the other main mental side of things, like on the tip that we want to give you guys, is remembering that the journey towards healthiness takes time. And I don't want you to have a streak mentality.
Yeah.
With a streak, whether that's on Snapchat, the Bible app, whatever that may be, you build it up as time goes along. But if you miss one day, it's over. You're starting from zero again. Like you're climbing up a ladder and you missed a step and fell all the way back to the bottom.
Yeah.
That's not how it works with health.
Yeah.
With health, it's more like a set of stairs to where you're going up day by day. And it's difficult. But if you trip and fall, you can get back up and keep going step by step. If you miss one step, the whole staircase doesn't disappear. And it's the same thing with your health. You don't want to enable that as an excuse, but you got to give yourself a little bit of grace, because there are going to be times where you can't. Well, this happened to us last night. We didn't have enough time to go exercise, go grocery shopping, go home and cook. It would have been like 9 p.m. by the time we ate.
Yeah.
So we ate out.
Yeah.
But that's not what we do every night.
Yeah.
Got to give yourself a little bit of grace.
Yeah. And that's where real life happens. Real life happens. It's not an excuse. And there's things you can do to manage your life better. But understand that there is grace. One bad meal, one bad weekend doesn't ruin everything.
No.
And that's the journey aspect you want in your mind. Okay, hey, I didn't do so well this weekend. I kind of lost a little control. Let me jump back on it. That's what you do when you have the journey mentality. You know that, okay, maybe I just tripped a little bit, but I can keep going. And I think that's the key you want to remember.
Absolutely.
And the thing you want to do is, no matter what the situation is, you want to look for the best option that you can. One of the things I heard recently was that there's a dietitian on TikTok, and she said something that just kind of jumped out to me. She said whenever she's at a party or at a situation where there's really no healthy food, she tries to pick the best option that's there. Mm-hmm. And she says a lot of times that's chicken tenders. Mm-hmm. And she eats those because she said it's pretty high in protein. There's not a whole lot of sugars and other stuff. Yes, it is fried. It's not the best option, but it's the best at the party. Mm-hmm. And it makes her feel full where she doesn't eat a lot of the other junk. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, that's a good way to approach it. So if you're at a dinner on the grounds or you're at grandma's house, you don't have to think, well, everything's garbage, so I'm just going to binge out.
Right.
No, just look for what's the best option here. Let me focus on that, and maybe that'll help me get fuller where I don't eat as much of the other.
Absolutely. And I think another important thing when it comes to the mind, mm-hmm. have this mentality of, I'm always learning. Yeah. I'm a student. I'm a lifetime learner.
Yeah.
Because the other side of developing this new identity that you're wanting to develop, a healthy identity, is you got to learn yourself. Mm-hmm. What are the foods that are good that I like?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you copy paste what somebody else likes, it might not work for you.
Yeah.
A good example for us would be sparkling water. Mm-hmm. Sparkling water is something that I like having in the evening on ice.
Yeah.
Because it gives me a sense of like I'm having something sweet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any sugar in it. Some people may hate that.
Yeah.
Maybe you hate sparkling water. Don't copy paste what I'm doing.
Exactly.
It's okay. You don't have to like what I like. I have just found for myself.
Yeah.
That's a good way to treat myself, quote unquote, without really having too much sugar. Mm-hmm. So you learn those things for you when it comes to eating or when it comes to exercise. Mm-hmm. There are certain kind of exercises that I don't like.
Yeah.
Sprinting is a good example. Sprints make me want to throw up. I don't.
True.
I don't want to sprint all the time. Every once in a while, I can sprint, mm-hmm. but I'm not going to do an exercise that's just sprints.
Yeah,
because I'm going to throw up on somebody.
Yeah,
and I don't want to do that at Planet Fitness. No, that's embarrassing.
It's not good.
But for you, maybe you love sprints. Maybe it gives you just this rush. Go for it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to copy my workouts. So we have this mentality of we're constantly testing things.
Yeah,
and whatever resonates with us, whatever works with us. Really, you're learning about yourself.
Yeah.
This is what I like.
This is
because what's my thing.
You're an individual. So this health journey is to be an individual journey. Mm-hmm. And to help you along that, we want to challenge you with just a few questions. These are things that you can just think about, and we'll put them in the show notes so you can read through them. Mm-hmm. But it's something to help you as you go on that journey. And one of them is, do you see yourself as a healthy person? And when you ask yourself that question, think about why or why not. Maybe your family wasn't healthy. Maybe you've been around people who always give you an excuse of why you're not healthy. But how do you see yourself in that journey?
Yeah, another question would be, have you tried in the past to be healthier only to fail, and now you don't even try?
Yeah.
The question there is like, have you basically given up on yourself?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, why is that? Yeah. And we just need to acknowledge that you're walking in with that and you have to get past that.
Yeah. And going along with that, think about what excuses am I using to not live healthy? Well, I do shift work. It's too hard. Well, that's an excuse. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but you don't want to just quit and make an excuse to where you're not even trying.
Yeah. Another one would be, do you use food in a role that it's not meant to be in? Do you use food to medicate? Mm-hmm. Whether it is like we talked about for loneliness, boredom, whatever that may be. Does food have an unhealthy role in your life? And what is that?
Yeah, that's good. And you also want to think about, what is the hardest thing for me about starting the healthy journey? What is it? What's the biggest obstacle in your way? Once you recognize it, then you can begin to do something about it. I'm not saying it'll be easy to overcome, but once you recognize this is keeping me from really moving into an area of healthiness, then you can do something about it or get some help and have someone help you kind of overcome that obstacle.
Yeah. And the final question would be, do you hold yourself up to an unrealistic standard of perfection when it comes to healthiness? Perfection can be one of the number one enemies that can get you to want to give up. If the finish line is so far away that it's like on the other side of the continent, that makes you want to not start the race.
It's true.
So are these unhealthy expectations weighing on you even before you do your first healthy meal? Even before you do your first workout, you're already thinking, I got to look like The Rock. Come on, let's not do that to ourselves.
No.
And that's coming from somebody that has done that to myself. I'm trying to help you avoid my mistake here, my mistakes. So anyway, we're starting this series to get a beach-ready body, not for the sake of vanity, not for the sake of 1 year or 1 week of the year, but we're wanting to develop a body we feel comfortable in year-round, a lifestyle that we can be proud of year-round. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be everything that you see on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's going to take time to learn. And the first place that we have to learn is up here in our minds. And so know that going in. Take some of the tips that we have in the show notes and just keep those things in front of you, because we want you to succeed, not just today, not just during the summer, but in your entire life. That's why we do what we do. All of our resources at thrivingman.com are meant to help you succeed, whether that's our PDF that you can sign up for and get that through our mailing list, or whether that's through our courses or the podcasts or the blog. We want you to be able to not just survive life, not just make it, but live a life that you can be proud of. If you enjoyed this show, share it with somebody that you think it would help. And if you are on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you listen, make sure to give us a rating and write a review. That helps us get this out to more people. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Thriving Man Podcast. If you want to check out more resources from David and Reese, you can go to thrivingman.com. We'll see you in the next episode.